In Los Angeles County, more than 60,000 people are homeless on the average night. And more than 20,000 hotel rooms lie empty on the average night. See where this might be going?
To communism. That's where it's going. Let me tell you a story from my town, which happened, I believe, 3 years ago. There was an accident at a building, and there was an explosion, which got the building to collapse. And many people ended up being homeless due to that. Now, a restaurant, which happened to be nearby, wanted to help those people and get some good PR in exchange. So they said that anyone that lived in that particular building will get a free meal every afternoon if they come to that restaurant. So what ended up happening is that people took them up on the offer, and they would go to the restaurant, they would eat the meal, but they would also bring from home their own food, which was rich in garlic and also had fresh onions. And this caused quite a stench in the restaurant, and they would also bring their own friends there. And what this caused was that the paying customer for the restaurant didn't want to go there anymore, because the restaurant was also one that was a little bit high class. So people that had the money to eat there would see the needy people that were there, and they would be like, let's go somewhere else. And that restaurant went out of business. Now, in California, you have a major homeless problem. One that is so huge, which would be considered unnatural. Like, it's understandable for states to have homeless people. But when it goes to that particular high number, at which point do you blame the people in charge? At which point do you blame the legislators for failing at their job? And this is why you have such a high amount of homelessness. So if you're going to say, okay, well, we're going to put them in hotels, even if you are somehow compensating the hotels from that, you would do massive damage to their business, because now the actual people who want to go to the hotel to enjoy a vacation will most likely not appreciate being next to a homeless person. This is exactly the same thing that happened with Starbucks. Like, Starbucks allowed their bathrooms to be used by the homeless, and because of that, there were many syringes and broken bottles and other sharp objects, and the employees of those Starbucks quit because their own health was at risk. They said every time they have to clean the bathroom, they find various sharp objects, and sometimes they cut themselves. They were very uncomfortable doing that. So, of course, the clientele also went away. But the point that I'm making is that you're not fixing the problem by housing the homeless. I know this sounds weird when you say it like that, but the proper way to fix the problem is to find out what causes homelessness and then put a stop to that. And only when you make sure that there are no more homeless people that are coming in, then you consider what do you do with the ones that are already homeless. Because otherwise what you're doing is, imagine you're in a boat and there's a leak and water is coming out in, and instead of plugging the leak first, you're just pulling the water out. I mean, you're not doing anything. So why are there homelessness in California? Yeah, well, there's many reasons. Some of them are because of the government, some aren't. Like, one that isn't because of the government is that you have all of these people that like to vote left-leaning, but they don't like to see homeless people in their backyard. So you have these housing associations, which whenever there's a affordable housing center being built in their neighborhood, they don't allow it. They constantly vote against that. And they're, oh, yes, we understand, we have empathy for the homeless, we're very sympathetic, but not in our backyard, right? So you have the NIMBYs, which is one problem. Another problem is that with drugs on the streets, I mean, this is clearly because of the leaders. The police is doing a dreadful job at keeping drugs out of the streets. So when a person becomes a junkie, it's very difficult for them to get a job. It's very difficult for them to have a stable relationship. So eventually, they end up being homeless. Mental issues, another one, which kind of goes hand in hand with the drugs. But that's pretty much it. Releasing people from prisons before the pandemic, like causing a higher crime rate, making businesses to shut down, people less likely to find a job, people less likely to be employed. But of course, the left on Twitter has different solutions in mind. Like, the most dumb one is like, we need to increase taxes to help these people. So increase taxes, yes, like make everyone poor. I generally like do not understand the left idea of charity. Like, why should a person that works pay for a person that doesn't? And can anyone explain to me the rationale of this? Like, they're not for charity. Because I understand charity, you know, like give charity to the poor, give charity to the homeless. The left never talks about the homeless, right? Notice how their solution to everything is literally the same. Tax, 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 more government, more control, tax, tax, tax. Don't people pay enough taxes already? But no, you need to increase the taxes to create a universal basic income. The problem is that people cannot integrate into society because they're high on drugs, or they're drunk, or they have mental issues. Simply throwing money at the problem isn't going to make it go away. And then, of course, you also have to take into account the problem of supply and demand. There aren't enough houses to house these people. Why do you think the rents are high? The policy of California is even more immigrants, like more human beings, more people, like a tidal wave. Just more. Well, apparently, if you want to do that, you also need to construct houses. Oh, fuck, you can't, because the housing associations. I see. I mean, there's a clear overlap between the people that want more immigration and the people that don't want to build more houses. Like, simply throwing money at people isn't going to fix the problem. Let me give you an example. Let's say I want to sell my YouTube channel. With all my videos, everything, right? Like, one of you guys get to buy it. And let's say there's 10 people that contact me and go like, V, I want to buy your YouTube channel. Now, let's say those 10 people win the fucking lottery, chat. They win the lottery. They win like $10 million, each of them, right? So, all those people now are $10 million richer. And they really want my channel. Do you know what will happen? They'll just offer me more money. But the problem is there's only one channel to give. Like, I can't multiply my YouTube channel. So, even if, like, you would throw money at those people, like, here, just make sure you get it from V. I would not be able to, because there's one channel, like, the supply and demand still fucking exists. And it's literally the same shit here. Like, it doesn't matter how much money you throw to people. The number of rent and the number of houses isn't going to magically increase. Like, the government can keep printing money, can take money from some people and give it to another. I guess like what the government can do is to bring other people into bankruptcy. Like if you tax someone incredibly hard, and then you also have inflation and the person can't afford gas to go to work. Yeah, sure, maybe that person becomes homeless and then someone else can take his apartment. Like you can do the move around, you know, like maybe that is something that they can do. They should. I'd love to see our housing challenge friends enjoy a luxury stay at the Hotel Bel Air or Beverly Hilton. Can you imagine this? Like, that would be interesting. Holy shit. Like, I would want to be homeless too in California if I get to stay at the Beverly Hilton Hotel. I look at this as a civil rights. Forcing this is a paying customer. They'll get money for the room like any other paying customer. Yeah, but like, their right to select the clientele is also important. I know, like, this shouldn't be, okay? But the difference between classes exists. Like, the people in the upper class do not want to mingle with the people from the lower class. Does that make any sense? Right? Like, they have, like, different expectations. So, they probably, like if you're an upper class person and you go to a luxurious hotel, or even if you're, like, a medium class person and you go to a medium hotel, you don't want to hear the people next to you having a fight, banging at the door. You don't want to see shit on the hallway. You don't want to see syringes in the bathroom. Like, you don't want to see any of that, because if you do, you're not going to go to that hotel again, right? And if you live in the street, by the nature of life in the street, you're going to get ticks and lice and stuff. Like, how do you prevent it from not being spread into the hotel? Like, because that's one of the reasons why homeless people don't go to homeless shelter. Because I also asked, I have many friends who have been homeless. And it's a very interesting situation, right? And it can happen to you, it can happen to me, it can happen to anyone. So it's an actual big problem. But I was wondering, like, why don't they go to a homeless shelter? Because it's like, why do you want to sleep on a bench? And they said it's because at homeless shelters, you can get various diseases because people are crowded up. But not only that, you can have people stealing your shoes and shit. And I was like, oh my god, like, that's horrible, right? But it's the reality. At least here in my country, I don't know how it's like in the US. Like, maybe You have like different type of behavior there. Though I'm struggling to find out what exactly did the hotel industry did to the Democrats. Like, I would like to talk with the Democrat, give him a doll, and ask him, like, show me on this doll where the hotel industry touched you. Because they seem to despise the hotel industry recently, don't they? I mean, if it's not locking everyone and keeping people safe and shutting down the hotels, now it's like, okay, how else can we fuck with their business? Oh, let's mess with the supply chains. Let's increase the price of gas so people don't travel and don't do tourism anymore. Oh, let's see if we can get some homeless people into the hotels. I mean, okay, you know, I don't think it will solve the problem. I think it will run the hotels out of a business. Hopefully I'm wrong, you know, because I definitely do care about homeless people. Like, I wish the problem was solved. I just don't think this is the solution. Let me know what you guys think, though. And I'll see you in the comment section. Take care.